Hola, mommies and poppies, and welcome to my channel. I was just kind of reflecting a little bit on a video I made a couple of days ago, and it talked about creating your magical day. It was light, it was airy, it was beautiful, and yes, magical. I call it magical. But it made me think about something that I said at the end of the video. And it was, you are the magic. And that's what I want to talk about today, because you indeed are the magic. And you ain't got to believe me. And you could probably thinking that I'm just sprinkling fairy dust all over the place with just positive, airy stuff. But no, it's truth. You are actually magical, whether you know it or not. Okay? You're special. Did you know that? You are absolutely special. There's nobody who has your fingerprints. That makes you unique. Nobody has your brain, your thoughts. Nobody functions the way that you do. Nobody has your exact body. So that in itself makes you special and magical. From a scientific perspective, you're magical. Your inner body, the things that you don't even see every single day, function and take care of you without you even knowing what's happening on the inside. Your internal organs all work together and function together to create the body that you have. Your arms move together in tandem because your brain tells it to. That's magic. I'm moving my arms without me saying I want to move my arms. That's magical. Biologically and internally, we are the magic. Our brains are magical, and we're only accessing 2, 3, 4% of our brain power. Imagine if we got to 10, 15, 20% of our brain power, how magical we would be. We would tap into things like telepathy and things like that we're scared to. But your body makes you magical. The very fact that your feet can communicate with your arms and tell it to touch it, and you are not really controlling that, is magical. And you still don't believe you're magical because of your internal parts. Your internal parts are a self-cleaning, self-helping, healing system. But not only that, we're connected to everything on this planet. We're connected to the trees. We're connected to the grass. That's why they say you got to be grounded, because we're connected to it. You know, people who follow the Bible say that, we came from the dust, right? So we're connected to it. The trees give us oxygen, right? If there were no trees, we would not be alive. We're connected to them. We're connected to the bees that pollinate. We're connected. You're connected to your family. You're connected to your neighbor in some capacity according to proximity. So we're all connected. We're connected to everything. Animals, plant life, people, we are all connected. And that makes us magical. But the most magical thing is we have the power to create with our thoughts. So the things in your life that you see that are beautiful, you thought about those things. If you bought that Gucci bag, you thought about it, right? And then you got it. You manifested it. If you thought about having, a high-rise apartment downtown with a beautiful view, you thought about it before you did it. The maker of this chair thought about it before it was created. And that's magical. All the things that we take advantage of, all the devices that we use, our cell phones, Our computers, our beds that we sleep in. All of those things were created from a thought first. And that makes us as beings magical. The way that we create these magical things for us in our individual lives, because that's where I'm going. So you know that you're magical, but how can I create magical moments for me on an individual level? Yeah, we hear it all the time. Oh, creation's magical. Oh, manifestation is magical. But how can I do it in my everyday life? How can I create more magic? The first thing you do is get quiet. Get quiet and think about what you want to create. Think about where your heart wants to create. You got to think about that first. And then you begin to use those tools to create the magic. When I say tools, I say things like, because you got to do the work. You're not just going to sit here and think that your life is going to be magical and not take any sort of course of action. You can't be lazy in this. The universe ain't going to let you be lazy in it. So once you think about what it is that you want to create, then you begin using your tools, the tools that work for you, the tools that feel good for you, the tools that have you at ease. Like a lot of people say meditation, and meditation is amazing because you're breathing in and out. You're breathing in and visualization, out all those things that, releasing those things that could hinder that manifestation or that visualization. So you're breathing those things in and out with the meditation, affirmations. Oh, it's just, affirmations stir up the right feelings. But you've got to program yourself to get there. If you are uncomfortable, this is a real truth. If you're uncomfortable with saying, I am a millionaire, but you want to be a millionaire, you're going to have to affirm through the uncomfort because the universe knows what's here. But see, this is where people stop. They're like, oh, the universe knows that, can sense your uncomfort with being a millionaire. So that millionaire status is out the door. No, that's not true. You just continue to affirm through the uncomfort until your mind is programmed to say, oh, this is an everyday thing. Oh, she is a millionaire. Yeah, she's a millionaire. Yeah, she's a content creator. Yeah, she's a best-selling author. Yeah, I agree with that. Well, let's go get some things and orchestrate some things on her behalf to make this happen. You see how that works? Magic. Some people use candles. I use candles. I use manifestation candles. I use candles. I use herbs. Because the reason I use those things is because it's fun. People are so staunch and so rooted in their own beliefs that if you're doing something outside of what they think to be true, then they think there's something wrong with it. But I do those things because they're fun. Burning intentional candles is fun. And burning intentional candles and watching the intent manifest is even more fun. But here's the thing. Because people who disagree with this type of action would say, oh my gosh, you're focused on the candles. You're not focused on the candles. You're focusing on the fun of the candles and knowing that the candles is simply a tool to manifest because you are the magic. You're the magic. You are the magic. It takes you to, create the magic that you want to create. It's not the candle itself. The candle and the herbs, they have certain energies that they can send out for you. but you yourself are the magic. So don't get caught up in the tools. Get caught up in the tools, but don't get caught up in the tools, if that makes sense. And everybody uses different tools. Prayer is a tool. If you didn't know, prayer is a tool. Worship, as they call it, is a tool. But you got to get back to, I'm just going to say it also, just using your big imagination. Remember when you were a kid and you could dream big? Kids had big imaginations. I can remember I was thinking about a time where me and my ex were barbecuing, and we heard my son outside, and he was playing by himself. Ha, yeah, ho, yeah, 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 yeah. You know, making little karate, chops and stuff. He was imagining that he was having a battle. I would do the same thing when I was growing up. I would imagine these big plays or big dramas, things like that, and act them out. Kids act those things out. My son at the time did not just say, "Oh, I'm thinking about a battle." He acted as if he was in that battle. Hi-ya, hi-ya, I won, hi-ya, I'm the best karate chopper ever. Or whatever he was thinking. He acted as if. And that's what we have to do as well in creating our magic. I'm the best-selling author. I'm the best content creator in my lane. I'm an encourager. I'm witchy, whatever it is that you're trying to create. You got to embody that and become that. And that's what makes you magical. You know what? Oh my gosh. You know what else makes you magical? Because when you realize that they have lied to us about what it means to be a grown-up, and you go back to using your childhood imagination on these grown-up things, the magic that you create and are about to create is about to be off the chains. Trust me. So if you like this message, I know it was a little bit shorter, but if you like this message, don't forget to hit the like button, the subscribe button, share this message, because people need to know how magical they are. Until the next time, you make today your most magical day ever. Have a great one.